European powers divided Africa right here 140 years ago at the Berlin Conference, without any African leaders present. Let's look at how Germany remembers its role during colonialism and why the conference still matters today. I'm at the place where most African borders, as we know them today, were set. But do people in Germany even know what happened here? And that Berlin played this crucial role in the so-called Scramble for Africa?
Oh. Nein, tatsächlich nicht. Schon mal gehört, aber dass es hier stattgefunden hat, nein.
I had no idea.
Just know that Germany had a couple of colonies.
It feels like German colonial history is not widely known in the country itself. Even I don't remember learning anything about it in school. This memorial is the only thing that publicly commemorates what happened here in 1884. And it was only put up in 2005 because of the efforts of independent groups, not officials.
This was erected based on an initiative by African and African diaspora organizations. In that same street, there's so many, publicly funded plaquettes that commemorate different aspects of history, of German history. And so this draws a clear contrast because it shows, where the priorities lie in terms of state support for making certain aspects of German history visible.
The German government does a lot to commemorate victims of the Holocaust perpetrated by the Nazi regime. More than 6 million Jews were killed. Up to 500,000 Sinti and Roma and at least 2,000 people of African descent were also murdered during that time. There's even a specific term, Erinnerungskultur, which describes how Germany handles remembering this era. But experts and activists say that the country is not doing enough when it comes to Germany's colonial past and its related violence and crimes.
I think there is a tragedy there. Germany is trying to do the work of looking critically for example, at National Socialism, right? Which of course is a very, very important and key thing to do. However, the tragedy is that it appears that when it comes to asking the question, what do these lessons then mean for other aspects of, histories of mass violence that emanated from Germany, namely colonialism, there seems to be a challenge, right, when it comes to actually learning the lessons.
German colonial troops committed the first genocide of the 20th century against the Herero and Nama between 1904 and 1908 in what is today Namibia, killing up to 100,000 people. Over 100 years later, the German government recognized the atrocities and apologized for them. But some Namibians say this isn't enough and that many descendants of survivors were not represented in discussions over compensation for the atrocities.
They don't want to take the word reparation in its mouth. They don't want to talk reparation. They're trying to avoid reparations by all costs.
A reconciliation agreement between Namibia and Germany hasn't been signed yet. For centuries, European powers systematically colonized